welcome to Yoga Video 1. So we'll start with some breathing and just getting into a bit of the yoga terminology and how we kind of move through yoga. It is slightly different to Pilates. So those of you who haven't practiced before, then welcome, and we'll get started quite slow and gentle. So if you just get comfortable, so it doesn't matter if you're sitting cross-legged or not. If you've got a mat, great. If you don't, just a towel, or you might have carpet on your floors or a rug, whatever is going to be comfortable. And just find a comfortable way to sit. So if your hips are quite tight or things aren't working and you're kind of sitting like this, your knees up around your ears and you're all hunched over, if you cross your legs, then just let the legs be out in front or whatever works. So it's just, the idea is to be comfortable more than fancy. So find that seat and really press down. And it sounds really ridiculous, but whatever is on the ground, actively push it down a little more. So make a conscious connection to the floor, whatever you're sitting on. So you're connecting to the earth, grounding. And from there, keep that connection, but then lengthen the spine. So it's almost like you're trying to pull each vertebra away from the one below it. So as if somebody had a piece of string attached to the top of your head and was pulling you up. So get that lift and length of the spine. So it's not an arch, it's just a lift. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. If you like, close your eyes. I'm not doing anything that you need to see, so you can close the eyes. And just rest your hands wherever it's comfortable. And then we bring our attention to the breath. So in yoga, our breath is always in through the nose and out through the nose. And it's an inhale, feel the belly expand. And then the ribs will move out to the sides, forward and back. The breath will expand into the back and into the top of the chest. Then exhale, we let everything come back in, release the breath completely. So we inhale, full deep breath in through the nose, into the belly, the ribs, the back, and the top of the chest. And exhale through the nose to empty the lungs completely. So the inhale is an expansion, and the exhale is a relax and a release. So just play with sending the breath to different parts. So breathe into the belly, allow it to expand. Let the ribs expand in all four directions. And exhale, release completely. So even as we move through the practice, hopefully we stay connected to that breathing. So on your next inhale, we lift the hands high, still keeping the length in the spine without flaring the ribs, just reaching up, they don't need to touch. And then exhale, we bring the left hand to the ground, reach the right arm up and over. So still keeping that connection to the earth with that right hip. So you're pushing down through the right hip, but reaching over with the right arm. Move from the waist, so you're really feeling that length through the waist. We just take 3 more deep breaths here. So that top arm isn't kind of just hanging out limp. We're actively reaching, because the more you can get involved in each pose, the more benefits you'll get from it. So you actually feel that difference. And just take 1 more deep breath in here. And full breath out. Then we inhale to come all the way up, reach both arms, and exhale, switching sides. So you're reaching to the right, push down through the left hip, feel the length in the waist. So it's almost creating more space between your ribs and that hip. Deep, full breath, so still breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Just 3 more. Still active with that top arm. And try to make sure that you're not kind of collapsing through the chest, because the temptation is to try and get further, and we really shut down through that shoulder. Keep it open. 1 more breath here. So then we inhale, lift all the way up. And then as you exhale, take the left hand behind you, bring the right hand onto the left knee if you're cross-legged, or the thigh, or whatever works. So the idea is to keep the length in the spine, and exhale, just get a little twist happening. Then we want to stay here this time. We're going to inhale, come back through center, and exhale, twist to the other side. So we inhale, lift up, exhale, twist. So give a little bit of movement or a little bit of a pull through that hand to help you turn around, and then let the body sort of get that elastic recoil to come back to center. Exhale, switch sides. So you just take 3 more each side. Inhale to lift. Exhale, be active as you twist. And then allow it to kind of spring back to center, lift up. And exhale to twist. 2 more each side. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. 1 more. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to lift. And exhale to the right. Good. Then we inhale to come back through center, reach up. And then exhale to release the hands. Bring the hands behind you or wherever works. So we're bringing the legs out in front. The big toes touch. And if you can, we're coming up and over the feet. Or if you need to, come around and sideways. But however you get there, we want all 10 toes on the ground to really connect to the ground. Hands out in front. And then work the knees towards the floor. So once knees are on the ground, still keeping those toes grounded, and try to get the hips back on those heels. So you're kind of sitting back on the heels. For a lot of us, this is really quite icky. I know there's a couple of you that kind of sweat and give me these filthy, filthy looks when we're doing this pose, which means that chances are good you probably need it a lot. So please stay with it. Deep breath. So come back to the breath. It will always help you come through. And see, by the time I finish waffling, you'll be out of there. So just another deep, full breath in here. Opening the soles of the feet. Exhale to empty the lungs completely. You got it. So from there, release the hands out in front. Sigh of relief if you need it. And from there, we just slowly unwind the legs. And before you do anything else, just bring the feet about hip distance apart. So then keep the bend in the knees. Walk the body back. Bring the 2 fists together, and if the fists fit between the feet, that's roughly hip distance apart. So 2 fists between the feet, that's hip distance apart. They don't need to be any wider than that. And from there, keep the little bend in the knees, but bring the thumbs to the elbows and let the body hang. So you're just letting the crown of the head move towards the earth. Let the upper body be heavy. So we take 3 more breaths there. So you get to hang out there, literally, just kind of hang. If you like, you can add a little sway side to side. So it's just unwinding the back of the body. 2 more breaths. Still deep, full breath. And last one. So then releasing the hands. And we inhale to slowly roll our way up to standing. Slowly stack the spine 1 vertebra at a time. Unwinding, relax the shoulders. Good. So then hopefully you're at the top of the mat or towel, or you've got space behind you, either way. So we bring the feet about hip distance apart still. We inhale to lift up, reach up. Then exhale, fold forward. A little bend in the knees, hinge from the hips. Inhale to lengthen the spine. And exhale, hands to the ground. Step your left foot back, lower the left knee. Good, so we keep that back knee on the ground to begin. Then from here we inhale, pull the hips back. So it's like you're trying to pull the hips towards that back foot, but it's not aiming to touch the foot. You're just drawing them back to extend that front leg. So if you need to, have a cushion or something handy so your hands can be higher if your hamstrings are crazy tight. If not, then hands stay on the ground. And from here we exhale, fold over the front leg. So wherever the hands go, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how deep or otherwise you go. Just try to get the length through that front leg. If you are wanting to get calf muscles as well, do pull the toes back towards the shins. As soon as you point the toes, you'll kind of lose out on that length through the calf muscle. You'll still be getting hamstrings though. So we keep the hips high. We're not actually trying to go for hips to the heel. And just 3 more breaths here. So full deep breath. Relax the body into it. Relax the shoulders. 2. And last one here. So then we inhale to look up and exhale to bend into that front knee. Good. From here we frame the front foot. So 1 hand each side of the front foot, tucking the back toes, lift the back knee, and keep the hips as low as you can, step back to plank. Then we inhale, lower the knees to the ground. And exhale, bend the elbows, lower the body to the ground. Inhale, we lift the chest, but there's no weight in the hands, so you're not pushing yourself up and crunching into that lower back. Use the muscles, then grounding the hands, press up onto the knees, tuck the toes, push the hips towards the heels. So it's almost like you're trying to get the belly onto the thighs. Try to keep that as you lift the hips, keep the knee bend, lift up high through the hips as if you're trying to pull the tailbone towards the ceiling. And then you can slowly work on extending the legs from there. So it doesn't matter if heels touch. It doesn't matter how bent or otherwise the legs are. Take 3 more breaths here. So this is our down dog. Turn the armpits towards each other a little. So you're engaging the shoulders. And 1 more breath here. Then we look to our hands and we step the feet towards the hands or jump them if you've been practicing for a while. We inhale to lengthen and exhale to fold. Inhale to come all the way up to standing, reach up, lift the heart and the hands, and exhale, release the hands, relax the shoulders. Good, so we do the other side. We inhale to lift up and exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway, long spine. Exhale, hands to the ground and step the right leg back. Lowering the right knee. So from here, inhale, extend that front leg by pulling the hips back towards the wall behind you. Pull the toes towards the shin. Exhale to fold. So just allow the body to kind of move forward. So think of it, tailbone moving back, chest moving forward. And what it looks like doesn't really matter too much. Try to keep the hips square. So it doesn't matter if you might be up here, you might have the knee bent, that's all good. Just whatever works. So if you've never practiced yoga before, it could be a bit of a shock to the body. 2 more. Deep breaths. So remember, I do this for a living, so it doesn't have to look like mine. 1 more breath here. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bend into that front knee. Press the foot to the ground. Both hands to the floor, tuck the back toes. Lifting the back knees. We inhale to step back to plank. Then we lower the knees down. Bend the elbows. Lower all the way to the ground. Inhale to lift the chest so the feet stay on the ground, but the chest lifts, no hands. And exhale, lift up into hands and knees. Tuck those toes. Then press the hips high, down dog. Then we take a deep breath in here and a full breath out. And 1 more inhale and exhale. And then we inhale, come forward to plank. So the shoulders are over the wrists. You can do this on the forearms if your wrists aren't happy about this. You can lower the knees as well if you like. So you can do this hands and knees or full plank. We inhale. Then exhale, bend the elbows, either coming just to as far as the elbows or all the way to the ground. It's your call. We inhale. So you're either still in that baby cobra, which is the lift of the chest but the length through the legs, or an up dog. The hands are under the shoulders. The knees and thighs are off the ground. The hips press forward and the chest lifts. So you're getting a lot of the same benefits. It doesn't matter which version you're doing. And then from there, we exhale, press it back, down dog. We take a deep breath in here and a full breath out. Good, then we inhale, come forward to plank. And exhale, either knees down or keep the legs long. Bend those elbows lower. Inhale. Up dog or that baby cobra, so feel free to stay here. And this time as you exhale, lower the knees to the ground, bring the big toes together. Step the feet as wide as the mat, or the knees as wide as the mat rather, and then push the hips towards the heels. So you're coming into a wide leg child. So the knees are wider than the hips, but the big toes stay together. Chest moves towards the ground. 4 more breaths here. 3, so you're just relaxing the head, so forehead might be on the ground. And 2 more. Last one here. So then we inhale, come up onto the hands and knees, bring those knees underneath the hips, the feet in line with the knees. Good, so from here, I'll get you to start with your right hand. We inhale, lift the right arm up, and exhale, slide the right hand behind the left wrist, come all the way down onto that shoulder, if you can. And then if you like, lift that left arm up and wrap it around behind you, catching the inside of that opposite hip or thigh, whatever you reach, or just grab your shirt. So we try to get a little bit of a twist and a little bit of a lengthen through the chest. Just 3 more breaths here. 2. 1 more. And then we release the hand, plant the hand. So that top hand presses, inhale, lift the other arm all the way up, and exhale to release the hand. Then we inhale, lift the left arm up, and exhale, slide it through, coming down onto that shoulder. And if you can, just let the body relax here, then lift the right arm up and wrap it around behind you. Just 4 more breaths. So the aim is about the twist and that little bit of opening through that shoulder. 3 more. 2. 1 more deep breath in. And full breath out. Then releasing the right hand, bring it back to the ground. Lifting up, inhale, lift the left hand high. And exhale to plant that hand. Good, now from here, we inhale, tuck the toes. Exhale to press it back to a down dog. And we take a deep breath in here. And a full breath out. And then we inhale, come forward to plank. Knees to the ground if you like. And exhale to lower to the ground. So from here, coming up onto the forearms. So if you can, if it's okay for your lower back, it feels fine. Bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. If you do find it's a little bit crunchy in your lower back, move the elbows further forward so you're taking some of the crazy back bend out of it. And we bring the left forearm across the front of the body. So again, it doesn't matter where that elbow is. Right arm is out in front of you. So the thumb is to the ceiling. Keep the thumb to the ceiling as you bring that arm around behind you. So you're still thumb to the ceiling. Bend the right knee. So you may need to roll onto that left hip a little bit to catch this. If you still can't catch that foot, then you might want to grab a strap or like a belt or anything else that you might have handy, or a towel. You can kind of lasso that foot. So we're catching the arch or the big toe side of the foot, so thumb is still to the ceiling. Then once you've got the foot, whether it's a towel or your hand, try to keep both hips pressing the ground evenly. So we're not rolling onto that side, but we're not rolling away from it either. From there, we work that heel towards the ground. So if it's too much for your lower back, do move that front forearm forward, so lower the chest. So this is a little bit of a back bend, but mostly, hopefully, you'll feel it in that quad of the bent leg. 3 more breaths there. So keep the breath flowing. That's the key with most of our yoga, is to keep the breath flowing. Keep the breath deep. And 1 more breath here. So then we inhale. Gently release that foot, release the hand, and exhale to switch it over. So the right forearm is in front, left arm up, The thumb is to the sky, swing it around, thumb still to the sky, bend that left foot, bend the left knee, catch the left foot, so the arch side, both hips press the ground evenly, and draw that heel towards the ground. So it's not going towards the bottom, it's going towards the floor a little bit. Press both hips into the floor, lower the chest a little if you need to. Breathe into the sides of the ribs. So even if you're lying on the belly and it's a little harder to breathe into the belly, you can still breathe into the ribs. And one more deep breath in here. And full breath out. So then we inhale to gently release. Release the foot, release the hands. But then from there, we exhale, lift up onto the hands and knees, tucking the toes. So this move is coming into a little bit of a twist. So we come into our down dog, so we lift the hips high. And we inhale, lift the right leg. So you're reaching the right toes up, but try to keep the hips square. So you're not really flaring through that hip, keep it square. And exhale, we bring that knee towards the left elbow and extend the leg straight out. So it's going almost like your thighs are a 90-degree angle and come down onto that hip. So from the front, what it looks like. So you've got one leg coming across the body almost, and the other leg goes straight back behind you. So both legs might be a little bent. It depends on your range. So remember, I do this for a living, so it will look a little different. We turn the body forward and exhale, walk the hands out. So you're lowering the chest towards the floor. So if you can, chest all the way to the floor. If you can't, it doesn't matter, just elbows, whatever works. So we're just finding a nice gentle twist. You might start to feel this in the hips or even in the hamstring of that front leg. Depending on your flexibility and how your body is made, it will change where you feel things. So we just try to relax the shoulders and the jaw here. And we take 3 more deep breaths here. And 2 more. Still breathing into belly, ribs, back and chest. And 1 more deep breath in. And full breath out. Then we inhale, walk those hands in. So we're not going to move the legs so much, but we are going to bend both knees. So your front knee is 90 degrees, the back knee is 90 degrees, and your thighs are kind of 90 degrees to each other. So it looks, for lack of a better word, like it's called swastikasana. So it's kind of got that appearance. From here, we look to the front knee, the front leg, and exhale to fold over the front shin. So this will get into that hip a little bit, that front leg hip, and that's okay. So wherever you can fold to, again, we really try to keep those shoulders and jaw relaxed. As we tend to get a bit more challenged and we get into poses that really challenge our range, we tend to hold the breath and we tend to scrunch up the face. And we try to let them both go. So we relax the muscles that don't need to be engaged. And 2 more deep breaths here. And last one. Good. So we inhale to walk the hands in. Okay, so for you, you'll still be here. So grounding the hands, and then just extending that back leg, lift the hips, step it back. And from here, you can kind of pedal out your down dog a little bit if you like, just kind of adjust or shimmy through the hips. The hip openers can be a little strong. And then we inhale to lift the left leg. And exhale, bring that left knee towards your right elbow, extend the leg out. So coming down onto that hip. So your right leg straight out behind you, left leg out to the right. Turn the body to face the front and exhale, fold forward. So get back into that twist, pushing out through the heels. And think of it almost as if you're trying to get that right hip bone onto that left inner thigh. So that whole body is getting that little bit of a twist. So chest on the ground if it's available for you. If it's not, it's okay. And breathe. Full deep breaths. 3 more. 2. And last one. So we inhale, walk the hands in, and exhale to bend both knees. So you're bending the front leg, bend the back knee 90 degrees-ish. Good. And so from here, the thighs are about 90 degrees, so you will be going kind of sideways on the mat, like I am, and you're turning to face that front shin and fold it forward. So wherever you get to, just breathe there. So we're not trying to force anything. So it's more of a curiosity and an exploration rather than a forcing and trying to jam the body anywhere. We're inviting it to open up more so. Deep breath. 3 more. 2. And last one here. And then we inhale to come up. Walk the hands in. And from there, just extending the legs out. So you're coming to sitting. So the legs are out long in front. Okay, so from here, so you have actually a couple of options for this one. So it depends on how flexy your hamstrings are and how flexy your lower back is feeling today. So if you are feeling a bit tight through the lower back and you really kind of want to stretch that out because you've been sitting all day or it's just not feeling great today, bend the knees, bend them as much as you need to so that you can hug the body to the thighs. So you're really feeling that connection there, you're really squishing in. And keep that connection. We slowly start to extend the legs. So it doesn't matter how extended or otherwise the legs are, keep that connection to the thighs. So really hug the body in. So if you're wanting to get more into the lower back, then do feel free to do this option. If you are more interested in hamstrings, then do just release that, push out through the heels, keep the back of the legs long. If you want to get the calf muscles while you're here, pull the toes towards the shins. Just let the body release there. So if you did have the towel handy and you are wanting to get a bit more intense with it, you can wrap the towel or if you can grab your feet and use that to help pull yourself in. But it's kind of optional and it's not necessary. So the idea is working more mobility than flexibility. So we want to create a healthy range of movement. So forcing and jamming is not necessarily making it healthier. It's forcing and jamming. So we just work with what we can do. Sometimes that gets a little frustrating, but it takes time to build the flexibility. Take one more breath here. So then we inhale to roll up slowly, stack the spine, and from there we're going to take the legs wide. Now, most of us don't tend to go sideways like this in our daily lives, so for most of us it looks a lot closer together and a lot more bent, and that's totally fine. I try to put this into most of my classes, so you're going to come across it quite a bit over the next 2 weeks, purely because most people don't do it, and it is a healthy range of motion, and it's helpful to be able to move the hips in different ways. So I put it in. So if you do find, this one is an important one, so you might need a cushion or a rolled up towel. If you do find that you're tilting back here, so you're trying to sit here, but the pelvis is really tilting back, and so you've got quite a hunch through the shoulders as you try to come forward, it's not cheating, it's not doing yourself out of anything. Grab a towel, grab a cushion, grab something, put it underneath your butt, so you're just kind of got the very edge of your bottom on that cushion or that towel. So think of it almost like a doorstop or a wedge. So it's helping to get your pelvis either straight up and down or even a little bit tilted, because we want the movement as we fold forward to come from your hips. It's the tilt of the pelvis forward rather than a hunch from your shoulders. So we try to keep the length in the spine and fold the body forward from there. So it might look something more like this. It certainly did for me when I first started yoga. So don't panic, but just try to get that movement here. So it's not about trying to get your forehead on the floor. Forget about it. Just work the belly towards the floor. And it's not going to touch for a while, or maybe it does for you, but we just work with what we've got today. And just take 3 more deep breaths here. Toes towards the sky if you can. 2. And last one here. Okay, so apologies, camera glitch once more. If you've been hanging out here, now we slowly come up, so we're almost at the end of this practice. Anyways, so from there, bring the legs back in. Make sure you've got room behind you to lay down. We inhale to sit up tall, exhale to roll down. Come down slow, and then from there, bring the knees into the chest, hug them into the body. And as you exhale, take the knees to the left, reach the right arm out to the right, look back towards the right hand, just twist it out. Deep full breath. And by the way, I am aware that my outfit is not the same as the rest of this video, but I only just realized that somehow or other the video cut out just before the end. So I'm just tacking this on to the end to finish your class. Inhale back to center, and exhale, knees to the right. So I couldn't just leave you hanging in a wide legs forward fold. As much as everybody loves it, I'm sure you wouldn't want to be sitting there forever. We've got 3 more breaths here. 2. Last one. Then we inhale to come back to center. Get an exhale, release the legs, release the arms, release the body. Melt into the earth for a moment. Let the mind wander, let the body surrender. Just give yourself this time, as long as you can, to just relax, be still, be peaceful. And when you're ready, bring yourself back into the world. So thank you for playing yoga, and I'll see you for the next class.